Okay, picture this. A terrifying, invisible killer that ambushes an entire generation, takes them out within hours, and then just completely vanishes without a single trace. Welcome to our explainer today on history's greatest medical cold case, the sweating sickness. Let's dive right in. Imagine the absolute visceral terror of a disease that strikes with zero warning. We're talking perfectly healthy at breakfast and dead before dinner. That was the brutal reality here. There was no long, drawn-out illness, no weeks of coughing to warn you. It literally left perfectly healthy people fighting for their lives in a matter of hours. And the progression, it was as horrific as it was fast. Step 1, you'd get hit with a sudden chill, extreme dizziness, and just overwhelming weakness. Then it aggressively flipped into step 2. Think unbearable heat, a wildly racing heart, and massive, bed-soaking sweating. Finally, came step 3, an overwhelming, terrifying urge to sleep. And families, well, they could really only stand by and watch, desperately trying to keep the patient awake, just praying they'd make it to morning.
Which brings us to section 1, the spree. 5 major outbreaks.
You see, this wasn't just some continuous plague. It was a calculated killing spree. It struck first in 1485, completely vanished, and then kept returning, 1508, 1517, 1528, and a final wave in 1551. These unpredictable, years-long gaps left Tudor England constantly on edge. Think about the generational trauma of that. Right when you thought it was gone and you were finally safe, it would roar right back. They were essentially living in constant suspense, waiting for it to step out of the shadows. Just look at the utter chaos of that first 1485 wave. Barely weeks after Henry Tudor took the throne at the Battle of Bosworth, the sickness rapidly claimed 2 Lord Mayors of London. 2! That number proved a really chilling point right from the start. Absolutely no amount of wealth, power, or royal status was going to protect you from this thing. Moving on to section 2, the modus operandi, symptoms and terror. To understand a historical crime, we need to look at the weapon. Our best witness testimony actually comes from physician John Caius, who directly observed the final wave back in 1551. He documented this absolutely devastating onset, noting that it could begin with intense fear, followed by chills, shaking, severe pain, and just overwhelming weakness. It's like the disease was designed to break the human body down in record time. Now, compare the sheer helplessness of Tudor-era doctors against a massive cardiovascular crisis like this. Today, obviously, we'd use oxygen machines, IVs, and ICUs to stabilize a patient. But in Tudor times, doctors were armed with, well, leeches and astrology. They were totally defenseless against the delirium, the pounding hearts, the severe breathing trouble. With zero modern technology, they literally could only stand by and watch nature take its brutal course.
Let's turn to section 3, profiling the Tudor victims.
Like any good investigation, looking at the victims gives us a huge clue. And the demographics here are a really bizarre puzzle. Records show the disease heavily targeted, prosperous, wealthy adult English men. We're talking the clergy, courtiers, nobles. Yet, bizarrely, it reportedly completely bypassed foreign residents and young children living in those exact same neighborhoods. So, was the disease specifically hunting the English elite? Well, we really have to ask ourselves, was this true biological targeting, or are we just looking at historical documentation bias? Think about who actually controlled the records in the 16th century, right? A nobleman's death was meticulously written down by the royal courts. But a poor laborer, their death likely just disappeared unrecorded. So this whole wealthy target profile might actually just be an illusion caused by the paperwork.
Which brings us to section 4, the 1528 pandemic.
By 1528, the terror had infected the absolute highest levels of society. Now, royal power could command armies, sure, but it couldn't stop a mysterious fever. King Henry VIII was frantically moving his royal court from place to place, literally trying to outrun it. His future queen, Anne Boleyn, actually caught it, but miraculously recovered. Others, not so lucky. The incredibly powerful future minister, Thomas Cromwell, tragically lost his wife and 2 daughters to this very epidemic. And then there is the geographical mystery. Why did this pathogen behave as though England was its natural home? Lingering there, causing repeated panic over decades, while its 1529 spread across the English Channel into Northern Europe was so rapid and fleeting. It stormed through European cities like Hamburg, left a massive trail of bodies, but then almost instantly vanished. Why the difference?
Section 5, the lineup of modern suspects.
Fast forward to today, And modern scientists have put together quite the lineup of theories to try and close this 500-year-old cold case. We're talking everything from rodent-borne hantavirus to enteroviruses, flu, even anthrax. But here's the glaring issue. Every single suspect fails somewhere. Take hantavirus. Sure, it causes a similar cardiovascular collapse, but it completely fails to match the historical transmission patterns. None of our modern diseases are a perfect match. Which brings us to the ultimate baffling question. Why did it completely vanish after 1551? If it wasn't a recognizable modern disease, what happened to it? Did the specific pathogen simply go extinct? Did changes in Tudor agriculture and land use cut off its ability to spread? Or maybe its animal reservoir changed? We have a ton of modern theories, but absolutely zero solid proof.
And that leads us to Section 6, History's Medical Cold Case. To definitely solve this, scientists today are playing a massive game of archaeological roulette, just trying to find preserved DNA. Think about it. You have to locate a centuries-old mass grave where confirmed victims of the sweat are mixed in with people who died of completely different things. And on top of that, fragile RNA viruses degrade extremely quickly in the soil. Finding it is literally like looking for a microscopic needle in a 500-year-old haystack.
So, we're left with this haunting reality. Is a microscopic trace of the killer still waiting beneath a forgotten English burial ground? The definitive answer to history's greatest medical cold case is likely still buried in the dirt, just waiting for a single fragment of DNA to finally give this killer a name. What if the pathogen didn't go completely extinct, but is just dormant down there, waiting for the right conditions to return?